What's up, super friends? Today I am joined by not one, but two creators of the hit indie comic Superguy. We're here to talk about issue 2. So first off, I have the writer, Anthony, my friend, someone I'm lucky to call a friend. He is Bronx born and raised. He loves comedy and sci-fi, and he's the host of the weekly comic book podcast, Comics and Chronic. I also robed up with a red robe. I got Joey Murphy, you're the artist and the letterer, right? Yep, and you're in Los Angeles now, which isn't too far from me. I'm in Costa Mesa, which I think is Los Angeles, but better weather, less traffic, and closer to the beach. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I love Costa Mesa. But you used to live in Anchorage, Alaska, right? I'm imagining LA has better weather.
Yeah, a lot better weather. Although lately it's been cold as hell outside, which is not ideal. Like not as cold as Alaska, thank God, but it's Southern California. It really shouldn't be this cold.
Yeah, I'd imagine Alaska is built for the cold, but Southern California is not built for even a light little bit of rain.
No.
There's a little bit of rain. Everyone freaks out. Like they asked me to come into the office on Thursday and I'm like, it's raining. Yeah, I'm not doing it.
No.
But guys, thank you for being here. So I want to ask you guys first, what was the first comic you both remember loving?
Ooh, have you ever read Bone?
Yes, nice. Bone is actually Bone is the origin of my channel, my YouTube channel. So talk to me about Bone and then I'll tell you my Bone story.
Hell yeah. Well, I first came across Bone way back in the day, like back when, do you ever see like the little kids magazine at like the checkout counter, Disney Adventure or Disney something? I don't know. Yeah. It's like a little Disney magazine. Here's what's going on like in our company and like movies and whatever. And they'd always have like a little comic section somewhere in the middle. And for like 2 or 3 of them in a row, there was this comic, like it was already like partway into the story. So I didn't know what it was, but it was cool. And I liked the art and it was like very like fun and simple, but also detailed and interesting. And years later, I came across like the full volume of Bone and I was like, oh my God, this is the thing. There's the little guy and like those little rat things and like, oh my God, and I bought it and I read the entire thing in like one day, and it's just stuck with me. I still have it on my shelf over there. It's so good.
So for us, I started working with at Best Buy with the person who became my co-host and videographer. And I didn't know anyone at my work liked comics. And then I saw him post on Instagram. He got like the Bone Compendium. Yeah. And because my whole thing was like trying to be pretentious at the time, I was like, oh, you should have got the black and white version. And he responded, it is the black and white version, which was the start of our friendship. And we started talking about comics and never stopped. They did just come out with, have you seen the gorgeous absolute editions of Bone? There's going to be 4 of them.
There was a Kickstarter, right?
Yeah. After the interview, I'll show it to you guys, but so my friend gifted that to me, for Christmas last year. And I was like, great. Your gift to me is I have to buy 3 more absolute editions down the line. But it was very touching that it came kind of full circle. Anthony, what about you? What was the first comic that you remember just loving?
It's weird. So I have the first 2 comics I bought were Death of Superman and Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. And those were like my introduction to collecting comics and reading them at large. Like growing up, I had like random issues of like X-Men and Spider-Man and all the good stuff. But it was always something that was just there. It's not something like I was like always reading. But like when I got those 2 books, I was like, ooh, comics are something I should pay attention to. And then from there, like in high school, I got into like Civil War, Infinite Crisis, House of M, Identity Crisis. The big 2 stuff is what really got me into it. But I even have it right here since, we're on video. I get to show off this other book. Like this might be, I don't know if everyone likes this run. And this is a weird collected edition of it too. So it's
we're
like
a collected editions channel. We love collected editions here.
Yeah, so I don't know how many of these that Marvel made, but it's like the best of Spider-Man Volume 1. Ooh. But this came out in 2001. And what it's collecting really is J. Michael Straczynski's, his last name is so hard to say, his run. And I love his run. Like, it's the run that from this book, I really like started to care about like lore and comics, and like it made Spider-Man my favorite character. And to this day, like it defines Spider-Man for me. And I don't know, like with the first two books I mentioned, I would probably still read comics, but without that Spider-Man book, I don't know if I would be as obsessed with comics.
Was there something specific about that run that made you go from loving to obsessed? Like, was there a quality of that inspired you moving forward?
Yeah, it was really because like, so I grew up watching the animated series, right? I grew up with the Tobey Maguire movies. This probably came out right after the first one was out. I don't really remember or it might have even been before the first one, but regardless, it was like the first arc of that is Spider-Man versus Morlun, and Morlun beats the crap out of him. Like he's a new Spider-Man villain, so I didn't need to know anything about, you know, like it's so easy to jump into because everything that Spider-Man is dealing with is the basic stuff that you know with like Aunt May. Mary Jane doesn't even pop up for a little while in that run. And then the villains are new. The supporting cast is new. He meets this guy that you think he might be Uncle Ben, but he's someone totally different. So it just like opened my mind to that world, you know, like I had not, we know as comic readers how expansive the universes could be, and that just showed me a glimpse of it, made me want to read more. The battle that he has with Morlun, I had never seen a battle that awesome with Spider-Man in any media, at least at that point. It just showed me what comics could be.
That's awesome. And there's definitely, I mean, I feel like you can track themes of your comic being both expansive and accessible and having some big battles too, you know?
Hell yeah, hell
fun. Yeah. I want to ask you, Joey, what were some of your biggest artistic influences? And then when did you decide I'm going to do comic art? Like go from doodling to comic art?
I would say definitely as far as like artistic influences go, Bill Watterson from Calvin and Hobbes, big one. Like the Disney animated things, there's a little bit of that in there. More recently, Brian Kessinger, who also does a lot of like Bill Watterson-esque little homages in some of his things. Like he does like the Lil Kylo, like Star Wars.
I've seen that.
Yeah, so like he can really emulate that style when he needs to, but his own style is also just very unique and like really cool. Ryan Otley from Invincible and Battle Beast fame. And then more recently, well, she's inspirational. I haven't really been able to like try to emulate or like kind of absorb any of her style, but Bilquis Evely of Supergirl and stuff, like it's just so beautiful, and I would love to be able to like kind of try out like my version of that, or like kind of incorporate some of that like detail that she puts in there. But a little bit down the line, I gotta get there. But she's just an amazing artist, so
I'm obsessed. I'm probably gonna cut this little blip out, but I want to show you guys because we're all fans.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh wait, that's on my book. Where'd it go? Oh
no!
Look at this.
Oh,
I got a Bilquis remark in my Supergirl deluxe edition.
Oh, that's so special.
God, that's awesome.
Charged it to the company card as networking. So
hey,
I love that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So okay, that's awesome. It's funny that you said Ryan Otley, because I feel like the vibe I got from your comic was like the essence of the Captain Underpants comics I read growing up mixed with like the battles of Invincible. So it's like the comic is definitely like Captain Underpants meets Invincible. What would you guys say? I want to hear from each of you. What is your 20-second pitch or log line for Superguy?
If a lazy Superman has a hang on, let me think about it. Anthony, you go first. I got too ambitious and lost it immediately.
Yeah, so Superguy is what if Superman was lazy and instead of using his powers, instead decided to stay at home and let his robot sidekick do all the work for him, and he would take all the credit for it. That's Superguy in a nutshell.
That's what I was going to say.
You could say great power, no responsibility, something like that.
Perfect.
I love the comparison to Captain Underpants. It definitely to us is like R-rated Captain Underpants. You know,
Yeah.
although we don't get too R-rated, but that's I think the best way to describe it. And yeah, Invincible. You know, I only read it like last summer or 2 summers ago for the first time, and I think Joey was reading it at the same time. That's why I was like, all right, if Joey's reading it, I want to be like reading it too. So maybe we could kind of like inspire each other. And I really feel like that kind of seeped into the DNA of Superguy in a lot of ways. Like, I think that was after, no, that was before the first issue came out. Yeah. Cause we were still like figuring things out, but it was, we were still like working on it.
It definitely helped when like illustrating like the city battles to be like fresh off of reading one of the compendiums, being like, oh yeah, that's how it can look, and like be able to, you know, work off of that.
Yeah, and we'll take a look at some of those fight scenes later on. How did you guys get connected or link up?
A mutual friend of ours, Jake FH, one of the co-hosts of Anthony's podcast, Comics and Chronic. He reached out to me before the podcast started and asked if I would do the logo, and then like we just kind of connected from there.
Yeah, because through that I was able to see Joey's art. You know, became friends on Instagram.
Yeah.
We that's how we communicate a lot nowadays. Still, like we're texting all the time, but we're always sending like reels, Lord of the Rings memes back and forth with each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, like cool, that's how we really like. Like at least that's how like I got to know you, right? Like that's I feel like even that's how I communicate with some of my long-term friends, like the same exact way. But like, you know, reels give you a taste of personality.
Reels
you know?
are a love language.
Yeah, exactly. At first I kind of didn't like that, but you know, that's just how everyone communicates now. So like, so be it. Like I'm gonna send you the best reels then. But yeah, like I think because of that, like I was like, I really want to work with this guy one day on like a real project. And as soon as that opportunity came up, I was like, Joey, let's do this.
I answered the call.
So I pulled a couple panels of Superguy. I'm just curious, like, if there's any behind the scenes story. Some of these I think give context. I'm curious, like, I haven't actually done this with an artist before, so I'm excited to do that. So here's my first page. This one I feel like is quintessential to Superguy as a character. Is there any behind the scenes story? Was there a fun thing in the script about this? Or break us down to people that are new to this, what this page is showing.
It's just kind of like a quick like recap of what his powers. I don't know if recap is the right word, but just like kind of quick. Hey, here's what the character is. Here's what he can do. Here's some of his enemies. Just like bam, 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 quick right off the bat. This was a lot of fun. Like the script was mostly open for interpretation. There was some like specifics, like, you know, the city on fire in the background, the kid crying, and like, you know, the crowd of elephants and stuff. But I just kind of took that and ran with it and had a lot of fun with those elephant guys, and just trying to make each one like have their own sort of like look and personality and like kind of style of fighting. So like you got like the, you know, like the jungle command, or like the commando there with the machete. You got like the one eye patch badass looking dude, and like you got like the tracksuit mafia guy on the other side. It was a blast to do. This was a lot of fun.
So did it just say like Elephant Army, or did it just say Army? And you gotta like, how much freedom did he give you?
What did it say? Let me
no, it was definitely elephant, because in the one shot,
no, it
like
was
we have
specifically the elephants. Oh, sorry.
But like I wasn't saying like this type of elephant, like,
yeah,
you know,
this one has to be a safari. This one has to be a Zorro elephant. You give him the freedom to.
No, yeah, it was just
what I did.
An army of super elephants. In the script,
though, yeah, but I also included the Pokemon. What's his name? Doniphan.
Don.
You know what he looks like? He's like
the Johto one.
Yeah. Like, and he kind of has like armor, but like just the point being, like he's like kind of like a, and he's not even like standing up on two legs. It was just kind of like the vibe, and Joey still made it become this, which is what I wanted.
Okay, he's in the corner, right? I guess I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that one was kind of bait. Like I put like the little lumps on his elephant nose, on his trunk. Oh my god! Wow. Yeah.
And then talk to me about the sweep. Was what's his character backstory? or whatever his name is. What's his
Oh,
name?
Dr. Broom.
Dr. Broom. I don't know. We hadn't really. He was just kind of like just a. I don't want to say throwaway character. Like we don't really have a story for him yet, per se. Not that I know of,
but he could always return, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So like all the characters feel throwaway, but they're not throwaway. Like we promise they will all come back, because they're just like everything in Superguy. It's all done for the sake of comedy. Comedy comes first on every page, except for when, of course, we need some drama in there. But like in this scenario, Dr. Broom, that's just kind of like a low-hanging fruit Dr. Doom joke. Like, what would be the Doctor? He's not the Dr. Doom of our universe, or is he? I don't know yet. But Dr. Broom just was silly enough. A guy with a broom attacking Superguy. Like, that's just the joke, right? Like, in that he's saying he's super invulnerable. Well,
I mean, I'm obsessed with Dr. Broom. Next year at New York Comic Con, I'm cosplaying.
Awesome.
We would love that. We would love that. I will say he does appear in issue 3, which I'm currently writing. He's coming back, so you will see Dr. Broom return. But like in terms of like backstory, and even for Superguy, for any character really, if it doesn't serve the story right now, then it's possible that we haven't thought of it yet. It's entirely likely that is the reason. But also, like, if it doesn't serve the story, then it's okay that we're not telling you, like you just don't know. Like in the case of Dr. Broom, obviously it is more throwaway. But like even this page, you're just getting, and the page before, so this is only page 2. We're literally taking you to school, right? Like he's in a school explaining little kids what his powers are. It's your introduction to Superguy. It's them getting to meet him in real life for the first time. So presumably you want to know what his powers are. The kids want to know the same. And I thought this was like the best, most straightforward way so that you're new to Superguy. This is issue 1. Boom. You know everything about him. And you know that we're not taking it too seriously at the same time because it's just very basic superhero powers,
Yeah, and I feel like the opening with the montage has been done in classic comics for a long time to get you up to speed without having to waste time. So famous examples being like, I think the most famous being like All-Star Superman, opening with Superman's entire origin through one page, or the beginning of like Jeff Loeb's Superman Batman, where you see like the side by side of their. So I feel like a montage is a great way to get you up to speed with a lot of things without having to, because you only have 22 pages to tell a whole story. You don't want to spend all of that, on things that you can explain. So I think montage can be an incredibly effective way to start a comic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So talk to me now. You mentioned earlier that comedy always comes first. How do you, both in the writing and in the art, how do you balance the comedy with also there still being stakes and action?
That's a good question. I think like, of course, like what I'm saying is comedy comes first, but we need a story for that comedy, right? So I just feel like when I'm writing it, the first pass, it's not as basic as possible, but the beats might not be there at first. So the story's there at first, and I could inject some of the comedy later. So as long as there is some like skeleton of a story, adding the comedy becomes easier because to me, it's almost like a crutch for me, right? If I try to write a serious story, it's almost always gonna have comedy slip into it, and then I'm like, oh, it's a comedy now. Like, yes, I've written serious stories, and I could if I wanted to focus on that, but like I just love writing comedy. So if I have a scene that's it's kind of too serious, well, that's fine or it's just boring. I'm gonna add some comedy into it, whether and sometimes that comedy comes from Joey's own ideas of his visual gags or how to interpret. Sometimes it's just funnier the way Joey decided to interpret something, and I didn't even intend for it, to be a certain way. But I as long as I could, I don't know if I could explain it. I guess it's just like the story's there, the comedy's there, as it makes sense when it makes sense, I guess.
Was there ever a time you felt like on a page you were like, you know what, I have to dial back the jokes a little bit? Like you had maybe like, because I imagine it's a lever and you want to find the balance with it, but I'm curious, like you've mentioned that there are times you'll write it and then you'll turn that dial up and add a couple more jokes in, but was there ever a time where you felt like, you know what, maybe I need to dial the jokes back a little bit because this needs a little bit more stake or reality or whatever it is?
I can't think of a specific example. There are pages, like for instance, where there are very serious moments happening, but in between those serious moments, I have to put a joke in there because I don't want it. Like, yes, we need some drama to like push the characters a little more and push the story a little more. But if I don't have the jokes in there, then it veers into too much of a dramedy, I think. And I don't think that either of us are trying to do that. Like, it's just like there are moments when in the first issue where Robot Guy and Super Guy, they finally are coming to a head and they're actually like trading blows. They're outside his apartment. And they're having a serious talk, but then like someone's like, hey, look, Super Guy's fighting a talking trash can. So like it kind of breaks up that serious moment happening. And then like, every so like until we get to like the very end, like there are moments where it's like no more time for jokes, like in even the way they're talking to each other, it's clear like we're focusing on that. But I don't know. I don't think I've yet so far have had to dial back any of the comedy. Because I feel like it's just as long as it's serving whatever we're doing, then it fits.
Okay, so now I have to ask. I read on your creator bios that Joey, you hate drawing feet. Was Crocs always planned for Superguy, or was that added because he hates to draw feet?
That actually came partially because I hate drawing feet, but like a year and a half ago ish now, we did like this little pinup thing of like Super Guy having like done his laundry and Robot Guy had like shrunken his outfit, and so he's standing there and it's like, God, I don't want to draw feet. Wouldn't it be funny if he was wearing Crocs? Wouldn't that be funny? And so I threw the Crocs on him and the Crocs kind of stuck because they're just, they're great shoes, to be honest.
I love it. But
they're just so funny.
I love that.
Yes.
I did at one point, like, I feel like my relationship with Crocs was like, oh, I'll wear them around the house. And then I got a little more confident. I'm like, I'll wear them when I take the trash out. And then I'm like, oh, I'll wear them when I go through the drive-through. Oh, I got to run into the store. And then at a certain point, I went into the office and they were like, you can't wear Crocs in the office. And I was like, I've been having to recalibrate my relationship with Crocs. I was like, maybe I don't need every themed Disney Croc ever. So I'm down to just one blue pair. And I seriously, I'm such a Croc fan. I even bought the Crocs in Fortnite. That's how pro Croc I am.
So if we make Super Guy branded pink Crocs, would you get them?
Oh, I think I'd have to, man.
They'd have to have like those little button things that you can put in the holes of like Robot
Giblets.
Guy.
Gibbets.
Is that what they? Gibbets? Yeah, those things. That'd be awesome. Actually.
Okay, so the next page is a couple pages later. This is pretty important. This is the big pivotal moment where Robot Guy comes in, right? And this is when is he in the classroom still and he's been lying, right?
So so they're in the classroom. And he's just told Super Guy that a meteor is about to hit.
Any fun stories about this one? We're talking about the relationship between Robot and Super Guy. Robot is definitely a little more subservient than a sidekick, right? Or at least at the beginning of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robot Guy is forced to do everything Super Guy doesn't want to do. A lot of the time it's like laundry and like the dishes and just
making grilled
Super Guy's lazy.
Sandwiches.
Making a grilled cheese sandwich. Yeah, it's almost like he's his butler in a way too, But yeah, very subservient. But he's kind of doing a lot of the other stuff because he wants to, he's discovering that he wants to be a hero. Like that's part of the journey in this issue. And in this moment, he's about to go do like his first big thing that we're seeing that is going to prove how pivotal, Robot Guy is to like saving the big city and like just taking responsibility that Super Guy doesn't want to. So yeah, in this scene, he's like, why are you just standing there? Go stop the meteor. We know inherently Super Guy is never going to be the guy to save the day. So this is us telling you like Super Guy's, he says it right here.
Like he only cares because it's aiming towards his own place. So now he's like, like whatever. Oh, it's going to hit like me personally, like I'm gonna be affected. Well then, gotta save that.
I think what I love most about this page is this little section where they're staring each other down and you just like, I feel like you drew so much emotion into the robot eyes. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's so subtle how you drew the emotion, like the emotional change and exchange between the eyes is pretty great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So that's what I think is worth highlighting on this one.
No,
this next one, yeah.
No, I would say like, and Joey, you could back me up on this. Robot Guy's eyes are super important to his character and a lot of the emotional beats in the story. If you see that his eyes are blue, so that means he's in sidekick mode. But when he's getting mad, they become red. He's basically evil robot guy when that's happening. And that's something like we see him like deal with in the one shot. And then he's kind of having like these spasms almost where we're getting like his evil side pop out every now and then, especially when Superguy is like pissing him off. So we play around with that a lot as the issue goes on.
You know what's crazy is like you can even see this on this page. Earlier in the page, he's got the blue eyes, and later he has the red eyes. So that's cool. That it's like, I mean, that's what I love about comics is that like you can read them, and then the more you reread a comic, the more details you pick up from. You know, that I might never, maybe I subconsciously noticed, but it's not, next time I read it again, I'll be able to see that. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So this next one is a big double page spread. Talk to me about this this page.
This one is my favorite. There's so much going on, but it was a blast to do. It took like a couple of days, but man, like looking back at it now, there's definitely, I can be like, oh, I could have like condensed a few of these into like from 2 panels into one, like the introduction of the character, like bam, the landlord, like, oh, that could have been in that same first panel. But I was just thinking to, I don't know, storyboardy, I guess, but it works out. But I don't know, there's
I mean,
just
that's
like
every artist looking at their work though. I mean, we're always our harshest critic, you know. This is an awesome page that is rad, dude. It is a rad, it's a kinetic page that tells a story.
Yeah, like that's really good. Like my only note to myself is like, like it could have been condensed, but as it is it is awesome, and I do love looking at it whenever I get the chance. Like, I don't know, there's all that happened. There's so much detail, and like the little transitions, like showing the remote control behind Robot Guy slowly get more and more crushed as it's revealed that Superguy's been watching like the news and getting pissed off that he's not getting the credit for all of Robot Guy's little escapades.
Was there one of these throwaway villains or possibly returning villains that was your favorite? Like, do you guys have a secret favorite character besides obviously the main ones?
Of these, Lunch Lady was the most fun to draw. I don't know, she was just a blast to like just make this monstrous, angry, like hag of a lunch lady. However, the first panel of the Hycular is my favorite panel because that dinosaur bone skeleton is awesome. I gotta toot my own horn a little bit, but so probably Lunch Lady.
I mean, I see. It's funny that you say the Lunch Lady because for me, she feels the most throwaway, I guess. But it's also to the point like I love all your designs, so I never want to say any characters throwaway because the designs are so cool that I want to see them again. I want to find a way to bring them back, especially since we have them now. Let's put them in different scenarios. Like a part of this page, aside from just giving him silly villains, is like the villains sort of escalate in their silliness. Like, okay, it's the landlord. He does have a giant key though, which is awesome. Going back to Joey talking about the detail that he puts into every single panel, man, there were things I wasn't catching for months in this. There's probably things I still haven't caught, but there's just so much in here. Like Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes is in here.
He's in the lunchroom.
You know, things like that.
I feel like the tooth flying out of the landlord is pretty like Invincible, just pretty rad. And I feel like one of my favorite comics of all time is Superman smashes the Klan. Why do I want to see Superguy smashes the KKK Ringle now?
Exactly.
That'd be sick.
I'd be lying if that was definitely some inspiration to it, but it's also just like, on site, Robot Guy sees this guy. There's no time for talking. Boom, 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 boom. It's also a throwback to a panel Joey did in the Superguy one shot, and Robot Guy is doing the same thing to Superguy. And I just always love that. So I just love the energy in it. I would just bring him back to just see him getting beat up even more and more and more, you know. Maybe an absolute Batman style one shot where he just goes.
Literally, that's what I'm thinking. Do that cover of him choking out the white supremacist, but it's Robot Guy choking out KKK Ringgold. You know?
Yeah.
There we go. Hell yeah.
You know, is do what Jack Kirby would do and punch a Nazi in the face, right? That's what we're all a fan of. But yeah, the amount of detail on this page is insane. So this is definitely one that is I mean, I know we're obviously here to promote issue 2, but I didn't want to spoil issue 2, obviously. So
no, we love talking about this first issue. I mean, you know, the more we can put it out there, the better. You know, I think I'm not hesitant to spoil it, especially at this point, like a year later, and especially if it will get people interested in reading the second issue. Like, you know, let's spoil away, because I think there's a lot of cool stuff in here that we never even shared with the world, because, you know, we just shared so much. I guess, you know, like, I don't think we ever posted this. Maybe we should just post this like nice 2-page spread, because it's so cool.
I think that's what makes this fun and interesting, is like doing interviews as a video thing and being able to look at the art with the writer and artist is like a cool thing that I just love to do for myself. You know what I mean? And I think it's fun. The next panel, we talked about how there are definitely stakes and intense moments in the book. And I feel like this is when shit finally hits the fan.
Oh yeah.
Look at that.
So what's going on in this panel for those people watching at home?
All right, so at this point,
go
ahead.
No, if you want to go ahead.
Oh, okay. You're so much better at words than I am. So, yeah. So, you know, at this point,
hey, but you're better at art, right? Aren't you better at art?
That is true. That is true. So they're duking it out, because at this point, Robot Guy has been getting all the credit, and Superguy does not like that, and he's been like pummeling him to the point of Robot Guy transforming into like a bigger, beefier super Robot Guy. So now they're pretty evenly matched, and they're flying around just beating the shit out of each other, but, you know, destroying the city basically in doing so. And just, you know, having to show this huge battle in one page. When I was reading the script, I was like, oh boy, how's this gonna, like, I don't know. I wasn't sure how I was going to do it until I forget the artist who did that one.
Dominique Barlow. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. That's perfect. So I like kind of just used that as an inspiration to kind of guide my hand, so to speak, into creating this page. But I just wanted to show the destruction and like the beat up bury and you know, just everything going on.
But and like here's an example of like, I think so, like we have the variant cover that Dominique Barlow made, and it kind of has it's the same idea. Like you're seeing all the action in one page, which is just so cool. Like you're seeing a lot happening, but we're just on one page. And this might not have had any captions at first. It might have just been like, let's just show this. But then I felt like maybe it felt like too empty. Mm-hmm. And so here was an example where at the same time I could add some drama and like maybe even try to make it sound like a bit, I don't know, maybe like, well, what I'm really referencing here and on the next page is 100% Death of Superman. So like we're building up to like their like final punch, like as this battle's going on this page. But the narration is, you know, a bit more 90s narration, like some omniscient narrator saying, you know, like the skies, the sound of metal reverberating through the skies, and buildings are falling, heroes are falling. Also tells Superguy to tie up that robe. So like that's a great point for me to add a joke after all this stuff is happening. Like it is kind of funny how they're fighting and they completely disregarding, you know, the entire city around them. You know, it's meant to be less of like how it happens in Man of Steel and more just like these guys do not care about anything except the beef they have with each other.
And yeah, what I like about the words on this one is you get to have your cake and eat it too. Your descriptions really make it dramatic and intense, but it also is what juxtaposes it with the joke at the end. The joke it's like the diffusion of the tension that you build, but it doesn't come at the expense of the tension, which I like, you know?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And this is definitely one of the pages where I feel like you get the bombastic action side of Invincible, you know?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. This was definitely heavily inspired.
So, and I've always loved when artists are able to show all of this motion. Like sometimes they do it with like the DeLuca effect or other ways where you show all this motion in just one giant page, you know? Do you, as an artist, Joey, do you find it more freeing to have to just draw one page, or do you like being able to composite the shot with paneling? Like what's more freedom to you and what's harder?
I mean, it does depend on like what the script calls for. But in general, I feel like doing paneled artwork is a little easier because I'm able to do a little bit like more beats instead of like trying to combine it all into one image, which like can be a challenge, and like, you know, it can be done. But I don't know, for me, if I was doing my own thing, it would probably be more, you know, at least 3 or 4 panels, so I could do like a full, you know, even just illustrate.
Do you have a favorite panel structure? Like for me, I think like it obviously depends story for story, but like my favorite of all time is like New Frontiers, where it's 3 giant panels on the page. Like that to me is just like the ability to pull focus like that is so cool. Obviously, you need to be able to mix and match and juxtapose people's expectations. But like, both of you guys writing, like some writers like Tom King loves the 9-panel grid. Is there a certain paneling style that you guys like?
I don't think I really have like a go-to or specific. When I'm like laying it out, it just, however it flows best is how I lay out the panels. Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe if I go back and like look, I'll be like, oh, I noticed that I'm doing this more often than not, but nothing specific comes to mind.
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing as a writer where I think I'm still trying to find what works best for me, find my style, because there's a different pacing when you're doing a different number of panels, a different number of pages. I think in the first issue, a lot of pages have a lot of panels.
I mean, we go back to this one.
Yeah, I mean that's the best
of the book right here.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. But the second page spread is way more deliberate about the number of panels. I guess what I'm trying to say is like there are certain pages that just have probably 9 or more, and they're not the 9-panel grid. It's just like the way I was trying to write the story in the script. And like we were just trying to find the best way to get that on the page. But then in the second issue, I think that style kind of changes a decent amount, I think. At least writing wise, and me and Joey talked about this. I was like, this time around, I want to try to be more deliberate about the number of panels we use. You know, feel free to change it if you think we need to, but let's try to stick to this. And so it's kind of like an experiment to see how like I liked how the story turned out for issue 2. I don't know if we'll be as strict for issue 3, but I'm sure you've learned some things by doing it that way, and just by me writing, I know, you know, so
that's a good question. Was there something you learned about writing or art doing this issue that you took forward for future issues?
Well, definitely like with the way that the script for issue 2 is written, where it's like specific action on specific panels, definitely gave me like an interesting challenge to like, you know, confine my way of visual storytelling with that, like compared to how we saw on like the 2-page spread, where just like so many. You're like, oh, how can I like condense? How can I get the point across visually in this instead of like this, which has been kind of fun and like a good learning experience, and definitely something that we'll be taking or carrying on. Because it does make the page look more clean, you know, and just like here it is, like it's not as chaotic, at least not in like a non what's the word, on purpose, you know, kind of way.
Intentional.
Thank you. It was gonna bug me for the rest of the night. But yeah, no, it's been kind of nice having that like structure this time.
I feel like you said you're influenced with Death of Superman. Why didn't we get a cool 3-page fold-out spread in Superguy #1?
if I learn how to do that, we will. Like, hell yeah, of course, of course. Like, there's, you know, like a big part of this too is that there's like, I don't want to call it a love letter to comics because that's not what it is, but like I try to show, or we're both trying to show, like, I think we wear our influences on our sleeve, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, we're like, there's parts in the comic like that, the death of Superman. There's also Jean Grey becoming Phoenix reference that it seems like a lot of people miss, but it's in there. If I showed you the page, it would be instantly obvious which page it was. But like, you know, it's not a direct parody either. You know, this is not like this is Superman and then we just tweaked a few things. Like, yes, he is a lazy Superman, but that's, you know, is about as far as the comparison goes. Like, because I do want the characters to feel original. And while we do have a lot of influences, like, you know, like Robot Guy and Superguy have influences from like Futurama, Doctor Who, Ratchet and Clank, if you played that game. Just so many things that, I mean, our second issue is called My Date with the President's Daughter. It's we're you know, that's the Disney Channel original movie. So like there, like you're gonna see all of our personality in these characters, and I think it's a combination that, I mean, you know, anybody's gonna have a unique combination, but I feel like we're pulling on things that haven't been combined. You know, like Superguy's symbol is a sandwich. This sandwich is nuts. It has toppings on it that you would never add, but you take a bite of it and you're like, huh, all right.
And
this
that
works.
to me gave me like a Scooby-Doo influence, obviously, you know?
Yeah, of course, of course.
And I feel like that's where the best art comes from. Like, I don't want to say like, you know, that cheesy quote, like good artists create, great artists steal, but like you take everything that you love and you're the blender that mixes it up into something new. You know what I mean? Like, the best comics are smoothies, and the fruit thrown in there are the comics that you loved and the influences that you loved, you know? I think that like,
I like that.
Yeah. Why did that sound so lame? I thought that sounded cool in my head.
No, that sounded pretty awesome. Yeah, no, I'm totally for it. Absolutely.
So talk to me about issue 2 now. What is your pitch for issue 2? I pulled one out of context early page from issue 2 for us to look at, but like obviously we don't want to spoil issue 2 yet. What I'm assuming it's about a date with the president's daughter, right?
Yes. So if you've read the one shot, if you've read issue 1, you've seen that in the one shot, the president's daughter is mentioned. She's kidnapped by aliens. We don't know what happens to her. Presumably she's dead. At the end of issue 1, we find out, hey, she's not dead. She's actually a genetically mutated monster now. And so the second issue, we go right into that. You're getting introduced to the president's daughter from her perspective on the first page, and then you're going to see her transformation. She's called Hot Mess. Her name is Hot Mess because you'll find out in the issue that's what Superguy calls her, right? Like all the naming conventions in the book will be what Superguy has named the character, or I imagine what Superguy would call anybody he meets. So her name is not actually Hot Mess, but we're only going to know so far what, you know, Superguy titles her. Same thing with Robot Guy. Like his real name is not Robot Guy, but that's because that's what Superguy calls him. That's all we know.
And I noticed that she's wearing Uggs right now. So again, even though she's a hulking monster, no feet.
Yep. Any chance I can take to put a shoe on a foot, I'm gonna do, because goddamn toes, man. Ugh, the bane of my existence.
I like the title lettering on this page too. I feel like it's fun. Like I feel like the deeper I go into comics, the more appreciation I have for lettering now than I've ever in the past, because like if lettering does its job right, you might never notice it, you know, but when you're really staring at the page, like look at how many different fonts are on this page, you know. Lettering is the unsung, underappreciated hero of comics, I feel like.
I agree. I totally agree. Because we put a lot of attention and detail into this. You know, it's a comedy, but we still take it pretty seriously, and that's a big part of it too. And Joey's doing all that. That's what I find amazing, that Joey like handles that. Like that's not, I don't think any of this stuff is like intrinsically easy to do. You know, like I feel like people, like you're saying, if lettering is done right, you might forget that it's even there, and that's so true. It's so true.
It's the hardest part: lettering and feet.
So just don't ever draw a foot tattoo, someone's tattoo with the foot with like words on it. That'd be the bane of his existence.
Oh no, that's the new. Oh man, that tattoo foot. I have to.
No,
okay, now I have to think of the new
not
villain.
tattoo
Okay.
foot.
That's awesome. It should be like Robot Guy or Super Guy has to fight Tattoo Foot, and then it cuts to the Grant Morrison style, the writer, but it's Joey at his like drawing board being like, "What the fuck, man?"
An army of tattooed feet knocks on his door. Stop it.
Each foot is distinctly different,
and
up to you to decide. Yeah.
And there's thousands of them.
Yeah, the Attack of the Thousand Tattooed Foots would be a great issue number 3.
You're absolutely right.
We're the Foot Clan. It's like, oh, you guys are actual feet.
Oh yes.
Huh.
Heck
it writes itself.
So this is talk to me about Hot Mess. How would you describe her? I mean, besides saying she's a hot mess, I mean that's easy.
Right. I mean, we don't know too much about her except that she doesn't align with her father, the president, the Prez. Because you'll know from the first page, and this page and the first page, the next few pages are available on the campaign page. So you could get a nice little preview if you want to, check that out before you actually buy the comic. But we get to see, that she is not the same kind of person as the Prez. She doesn't like her life as the president's daughter. And she kind of gets swept up in the events of Superguy, Robot Guy, and the Prez. So she's this way because of Superguy, or at least that's what the Prez tells her. I mean, we kind of know that indirectly or directly he is, but maybe not in the way that she knows right now. And so her whole motivation is to beat the stuffing out of Superguy. Like she is going through the city, doing whatever she needs to find him and then beat the crap out of him. Mm-hmm. And part of that is, we're continuing a story from the one shot to the plan 4 issues we have. So Hot Mess is not a one and done type character at all, or even close to that. Like we have more ideas for her. She's going to continue. If you read it, she's sticking around. But her whole motivation is to get revenge on Superguy. And it's something that like she does some messed up things in this issue, so she's not 100% a perfect person at all. But it's I want every character to kind of have shades of gray. Like not everyone is a straight up hero at all. Not everyone is a straight up villain. She's definitely not a straight up villain. I think she has motivations that make sense. Just the way she goes about them could be a little extreme. She's like a giant hulking monster. So I think it's, we just had a lot of fun with her interacting with Superguy and Robot Guy in this issue. And I mean, the cover kind of gives it away, and I'm not even trying to hide that fact. I just think it's a silly thing that we get to. But I think, it's maybe this is corny to say, but it's about the journey, not the destination. So yes, the destination is a date with the president's daughter, but I think it's fun how we get there. And I think you could also interpret it, like my date with the president's daughter, like a date with destruction for Superguy, at least, because a big chunk of the issue is their fight. I think that sums up Hot Mess.
Yeah, no, that was a great answer. So you said Death of Superman, there were some Phoenix influences for issue 1. What comics were kind of like the DNA influence, that the fruits of your smoothie for issue 2? I mean, I almost feel like she's more Doomsday-esque than Robot Guy a little bit, but
oh yeah, for sure. Like the whole Doomsday, like in that scenario, I did like Robot Guy is like kind of like Doomsday in the at least the splash page. I didn't see him as that. I just thought it would be a funny image. But yeah, she does have Doomsday vibes, definitely Hulk vibes, 100%. I love me some Hulk. Definitely, and then definitely more Hulk than She-Hulk, like she's not, she's more monster, like even her dialogue, like, she doesn't use like proper pronouns or anything like that, like where am Superguy, that kind of speech. It's when I think about this one, the biggest influence is weirdly the Disney movie, right? Like comic wise, I was really just I'm sure there's influence there, but like I was trying to be as original as possible, just continuing what we started in the first one. Because there are like the Hulk will be the biggest influence, because there's even like panels where it's like there's a panel where she's smiling and it's like you've seen that smile before, like,
Mhm.
but like
Yeah.
going back to like the smoothie, there's like a part where, and this is credit to Joey, but like there's a part with Super Guy and he's getting arrested, and the way he looks is like Puss in Boots from Shrek,
Mm.
like images like that populate, and Joey's so good at just it makes it so funny to me. I don't know. I like script wise, I have to think about it a little more, because I feel like I'm a liar if I'm saying, well, nothing influenced me. This is the most, original comic.
Yeah. But
But
sometimes you don't know what
right.
influences you because like and that's what's so special, like you might like come to the connection or the realization later like, oh, that was totally this. Sometimes you do it as an homage, other times it's subconscious, other times it is completely original, but like, and that's what makes that's what makes art so fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would love, like I think you read the first issue and you're like, boom, that's Captain Underpants, that's Invincible. I think you're still going to get those vibes from this issue.
Yeah.
So that influence still carries over.
Oh yeah.
uh So my next question, a lot of people like to, that famous question they'll ask like actors in movies, like what's your letterbox top 4 for movies? I want to ask you guys both, what would be your letterbox, like your 4 favorite comic books that would, if you could only have 4 books in your shelf, what would they be? What is your top 4 for comics? And it can be
Oh,
either for that
Ooh.
you think everyone should read or that you love the most. What are your top 4 comics? And obviously you're not going to get every comic that you love. No, if you miss one, no worries.
yeah. Damn, I had a problem with the 4 cube challenge, and now
Yeah,
I have
now
to
I'm
pick
limiting you
4
down to 4
books.
books, bro.
Oh my God.
Hey,
Okay.
you should do the 4 cube challenge.
I
It's a lot of fun.
I'm gonna. So like part of what you see here why I'm not in my room is because I'm like reorganizing down here in my basement.
You,
This is going to become something
you
like
see
that.
that? You
Yeah.
see that giant cell pile right there?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's kind of hidden there. I didn't even see it. Even though you showed it to me, I didn't even see it. Um, damn. Okay, Long Halloween. It's there.
Nice. Wait, just cheat and say the Batman by Loeb omnibus, because then you get all 3 of them for one
Mm.
book.
No, I'll still just go with Long. I like Dark
Okay.
Victory, Haunted Night. I don't know
Haunted
if it
Knight's
would.
okay. But
Yeah,
I think Dark Victory is underrated.
no, I love Dark Victory. Yeah, yeah. I actually just got the absolute. But no, let me stick with one Batman. Just so I'll just go with
Yeah.
Long Halloween. I will say this, and maybe like just because I love it and it really made me rethink comics. Exit Stage Left, the Snagglepuss Chronicles.
Dude, how do we not have more of those books collected? Like, I think
Right?
all we've gotten is the Flintstones Deluxe Edition.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
and
that was recent.
Scooby Apocalypse. Scooby
And that
Apocalypse
just
was
came
much
out.
more recent. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was like such a pivotal time for me reading comics. Like,
Same.
yeah, Flintstones is fantastic too.
Yep.
If you like those ones.
Oh yeah, I love Mark Russell. So anything he puts out, I'm gonna buy. But like that book, like seriously, I was like, you could do this with a comic? You could
Yeah.
like, and also it was just like I found myself buying a Snagglepuss comic. I'm like, all right, I know who Snagglepuss is, but like, well, how did I buy this? How did I but like Mark Russell's name on it sold me initially. And then I was like, oh my God, this is like, like anyone listening, watching, like go pick up that comic, read it. Like,
Is it collected in anything?
yeah, they do have a trade. I don't know if it's easy to find anymore. But they need to reprint it if that's the case, or they need to do a deluxe. Like it deserves
Yeah.
it. The art is great in there too. It's just such an interesting story, and I think it's so relevant to the times because it takes place during the McCarthy era, and like it's funny and it has heart and it's super smart. And
The reason those ones mean so much to me is that my family was very thrifty and frugal about certain things, and they bought cable, but they bought the bare minimum cable channel. So literally the only cartoon channel I didn't have Disney Channel or Nickelodeon, but I had Boomerang, and I didn't
Oh, yeah.
realize they were
Nice.
reruns. So
Oh.
so much of my love of comics is like that Alex Toth inspired Hanna-Barbera
Yeah.
like stuff. And then when I finally started collecting single issues when I got older, the fact that they were doing like adult oriented takes on the Hanna-Barbera cartoons was like such a full circle moment. It hit me at exactly the right time.
Yeah, I love that. I loved Boomerang. I would grow up on that too. Yeah, like I watched all that. Super Friends was on there.
I love Super Friends, even though the first half of the episode would be the episode, and then they'd crack a joke, and the second half was just them laughing about whatever I felt like. But I love Super Friends, and like that, just all that Toth inspired. Like I felt like if you've seen any of the Dynamite stuff that they've done, no shade to Dynamite, where they've done their Hanna-Barbera stuff, they play it too safe. What the DC did was wildly different takes. Like
Oh yeah.
Flintstones is a scathing critique on consumerism. You know what I mean? Like it's like Mad Men basically.
Yeah. No, that Flintstones comic is great too. I'm only putting Snagglepuss. Yeah. Oh,
hey,
Joey,
you know what we'll do, man? If it's still in print, we'll send you a copy from courtesy of our sponsor, Panel Bound Comics.
Hey.
Oh shit. Awesome.
Okay, so we got Long Halloween. We got Snagglepuss. I almost said Puss in Boots because we said it earlier. What else?
I'm trying to avoid saying Watchmen because that's like that should be like a freebie. Like everyone gets a Watchmen over there. I got a DC book. I guess that's 2 DC books. So if I was going with, I would pick this book, this specific one, because it meant so much to me. The one I showed before, The Best of Spider-Man Volume 1, just because it has the arc that I like, you know? It's the kind of comic, because it like influenced me so much, I'll go back and read it and not have any problem like enjoying it, you know? But for that one, I would cheat. Okay, I would get the omnibus.
Yeah.
The omnibus for that. So there we go. We got an omnibus on our top 4, and then
that'll make my viewers happy.
I mean, I love omnibuses, and the thing is, it feels like a more recent thing, because when I started collecting comics back in like 2008, 2010, it was like Barnes and Noble was like the place to buy it, and there was never omnibuses there. It was always trades or barely hardcovers too. It was pretty much, they had them, but yeah, it was always trades. And it was not until, you know, sites started selling them, like Panel Bound and stuff like that, where like you had access to them. And now like people who just start I think it's so cool. Like it's so easy. It's so much easier if you're getting into comics now to collect them than it was when I started. So
yeah,
that's awesome. I need one more book. First one I could think of. I'll throw Spectators on there because I loved it. I just read it. I know I'm gonna go back and read it. I love Brian K. Vaughan. And for like a modern day comic, I think it's gonna stand the test of time. Like maybe a lot of people haven't heard of it right now, but
I haven't read it yet, but I've heard of it. Like I've heard more people talking about it lately.
Yeah, it's so good. I think it's gonna catch on. And I just highly recommend it. It's like my new go-to recommendation. And if I'm cheating a little bit, I'll just throw in one more Drone by Jesse Lonergan. That
has the really cool cover, right? Like the grid or whatever.
Yeah, and the whole comic is like, I don't think every page is the grid, although it might be. I don't remember, but it's just something everyone has to read. Joey, I was telling you about this one too. Like Drome needs to be at the top of everyone's list if you could find it. But yeah, I guess those are my 4 for now. That would always
Long
change.
Halloween, Snagglepuss, the Omnibus of Straczynski, and you said Spectators.
Yeah,
nice. Okay, and Joey, what would your 4 be?
Mine would be, Bone is on there because it just, it's my first introduction to comic books, so it holds a special place in my heart. So I recommend that. Saga has been great. I need to read more of it, but what I've read the first, was it the compendium? Just fantastic from start
the first
to
50
finish.
Issues.
God, yeah,
and it reads so quickly. It reads so quickly, but it's so good.
It's so good. And, like the characters are just so like developed and like just so real. And the fact that like you can start off hating one character and like later on you'll love that character, and then something will happen. You're like, it keeps you guessing. I never know what's going to happen next, but it's just so beautifully written and beautifully like illustrated, and it's fantastic. So that's on my list. Invincible, of course,
nice.
Not just because of how fun and great of a comic book it is, but it's also very influential for me, and it's a good one. Was that 3, 2?
That's 3. We got one more.
3. Oh man, probably Nice House by the Lake.
Nice. Okay.
Oh yeah.
That one's really good. Both those volumes, and then the new one, the Nice House Up by the Sea, or Nice House on the Lake
by the Sea.
By the sea. Yeah, just it's so good. It's so good. Like, I can't wait for like the next one to come out so I can keep reading it. But it's a great.
I loved Nice House by the Lake, but my struggle with that book specifically was that I could not tell the characters apart. Like, and I didn't know if that was by design, because a lot of the book is from the perspective of like this omnipotent figure or whatever. And I love that one scene in it where they go into his library and you can clearly see the Sandman absolutes and like collected editions on his bookshelf. It's great. But yeah, at the end of the deluxe edition, there's a character breakdown, and I just could not tell the characters apart in that book.
No, it is. There's so many characters.
Yeah.
I did find that it was easier to tell them apart in the By the Sea, like when they visited like the original house. It's like, oh, okay, I can like, I don't know if like just because of like the time had passed, maybe like I was like, oh, like I see the difference between them. But yeah, definitely looking back, it was difficult to remember.
Well, but look, Superguy, how many characters were in Superguy issue 1? Yet they're all so distinct that you can easily tell Dr. Broom apart from KKK Ringle, you know? I just felt like the characters had no discernible like feet. I don't want I like looking at books critique. Like I blamed myself. Like I just couldn't tell them apart, you know?
Yeah.
So
no, that series really is like that. I found that I liked it way more on the second. Like I loved it on the first read, don't get me wrong, but on the second read, like you know, and I could like I was reading the collected edition, so I was flipping back to where it had like each, because like they each have like their monikers and their real names, so you get double confused.
Yeah,
it's tough, but like I know that's a hard selling point on the series, but
it's so good.
It's so good.
To me, it felt like he was working through his issues from COVID lockdown.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like where they're trapped in this place, they can order whatever they want and it'll arrive in a few days. I was like, that was just, and one guy's like, I'm gonna wear funny hats today. I was like, that's just me during COVID, like trying to buy things to feel better about myself.
Yep.
Very true.
And it's like a gift and a curse, because like you know, like you have it, but you're like, this isn't life. This isn't life.
Yeah. So Tinian is great. I mean, think about how much work it takes to write one comic, and I don't even know how many comics they're writing.
Seriously.
You know? So Tinian, like people like Jeff Johns and Tinian who can write like 6 ongoing books at once is insane.
That is
talent.
But guys, this was a lot of fun. We're reaching the hour mark, so the floor is now yours. My audience is your audience. Plug away whatever you want to plug.
All right. You can find me online, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, all that, at Jorion's Belt, right there. I don't know if I mirrored, wherever. It's down here. I also check out my other project that I'm doing with a buddy of mine, Quickies Comic, on Instagram. That's at Quickies_comic. If you like The New Yorker and or The Far Side, you'll get a kick out of us because it's like their baby, and it's a lot of fun and it's funny, and we've been doing it since the pandemic. Every week, come check us out, give us a follow, give us a like, share us, and then that's
Rad.
it.
I am Anthony Iannaccio. You could find me everywhere online as at Mr. Tony Nacho, Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, all that good stuff. I should have a website up and running by the end of the month, MrTonyNacho.com. So that's where, you know, you could find me as well. I'll have all my writing, comics, because I do like prose writing as well, videos, podcast stuff. I host a weekly comic book podcast, Comics and Chronic. You could check me out there. New episodes every Thursday. But most importantly, Superguy #2, the Kickstarter is live. It's funded, but we could use all the support and backing we could get for it so we can make more Superguy in the future. We've got a lot of cool variant covers up there. And we just want to make more Superguy. So we want you guys to enjoy it, read it, let us know what you think about it. We love talking with fans. If you're an artist and you like Superguy, let's talk, because I have more ideas, so that while Joey's working on the new issues, we could work on some other Superguy stuff so that Superguy could keep going as much as we could do. I'll also be working on some other comic stuff. You'll catch me in some anthologies, hopefully this year and next. The next one is going to be a zombie story I'm working on. It's a 10-pager for the anthology called Zombies We're Human Too. I'm working with Irish cartoonist Billy Lahif. That's a really cool story called Nona Non Morta, about an Italian grandma and her grandson trapped together during a zombie apocalypse. Completely different from Superguy. It is a dark humor, a dark comedy, super dark. People get eaten, so I'll let everyone know when that's out. But yeah, this was a fun time. Thank you.
This was a blast, guys. I want to do everything I can to help support your comic. I mean, I see you out here hustling, man. I feel like you're everywhere online. At New York Comic Con, you were giving out free. I guess I should have grabbed it. I have it right over here. My issue single one of Superguy that you gave me. You know, so like you're out. You guys are out here hustling, and I know how I'm in marketing. I know how hard it is to get attention when there's so much noise out there. So
yeah,
you guys wrote an awesome comic, and you guys are just cool dudes that were just fun to talk to. So everyone check it out. I'll have the Kickstarter link down below. When does that Kickstarter end? When's the deadline?
March 14th.
Oh, so we got wow, you got funded quickly, man. You got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Pretty quick.
What stretch goals up there are still left? Like if we get more funded.
So we don't have any stretch goals yet. If there actually might be something. I'm still working with an artist that's working on a cover that was supposed to be for this campaign. But I'm not rushing them, and if they could get it to me by the time the campaign ends, you might see it. That's going to be a cool one if we could get it. But we really try to keep this campaign as simple as possible. The same thing with the first one. We did have stretch goals for the first one. I'm not sure it was worth it. So we'll see. I'm not saying no. I just have nothing to say about it right now. But
everyone, get in the comments that we want the absolute Batman style variant cover with KKK Winkle getting.
Oh yeah, out. Okay, yeah.
Get in the comments, people.
Either way, we're gonna make that happen now. I haven't forgotten that.
Yeah, I've recently been collecting original art, so maybe I need that as my first Superguy original art page. But guys, this was a lot of fun. I hope that my platform helps get. I mean, if I get one more person reading Superguy, this wasn't worth it. This was worth it. So everyone, keep reading and stay brave.